Hello and welcome to the Student Council Podcast, an educational advice show made for students and by students, where everyone's qualified to talk about their own experiences. I am Carter Dvorak. I am back on the mic, and I'm very excited to talk to Liz and Maddie Adams of Marywood University. Liz and Maddie, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on. I am so excited to talk all things with you guys today.
We are so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Carter, for asking us to be on. This is such a cool show. We're so excited to be part of it.
Thank you. I am so excited just to talk to you all again. If you haven't heard before, so I'm on another show called Positivity, and I think the most recent episode as of right now is with Maddie and Liz on that aspect, and we talk about all about their podcast, Courageously Kind. It's so cool and just such a cool podcast and stuff. So I had to talk again, talk about college and all that fun stuff. So the intro question I want to throw out to both of you is, what has been your favorite 5 minutes of the past week?
This is such a good question, and it's so hard to pick just 5 minutes.
It is. It really is.
I think the thing that comes to mind first for me was we had pumpkin cake at the dining hall for lunch, and it was so good. So maybe that would be my favorite 5 minutes.
That's pretty perfect.
So good. We ran into a friend Saturday night. It was a long day. We ran into them right as we were coming back to our room, and we talked for an hour.
Yeah.
But there was definitely 5 minutes where we just laughed. 5 minutes straight, and it was so lovely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Isn't that something special about college? It's just bumping into people, just seeing people and being like, hey, what's up? And then just immediately going and hanging out and all that.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
I love it too. I just the spontaneity, and like you were saying, your school is huge. I'm sure
Oh yeah.
You see friends all the time, right?
Definitely. I mean, it's such an interesting thing because there are some times where I see nobody for a long time, and then there's times where I'll be bumping into people left and right, kids who I haven't sseen since high school, and I'm like, what's up? And we just, we'll smile and wave as we're walking to class. It's really cool, the spontaneity. It's you're kind of living at a place with all your friends together.
It's really fun. I think that's a unique to college experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely been, I think it has its ups and its downs, but it's definitely a really unique to college experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of college experience, what has your college experience been at Marywood? I'm curious, even down to the application, what made you really pick and apply to Marywood, and what has it been? You're now going into sophomore, which is very exciting. I wish you all the best in that. So how has that all been going?
Yeah, I would say, it's funny, we gave a talk on this actually 2 days ago about adjusting to college and all that. So it feels really
oh, wow.
Really
on the brain.
On the brain, yeah, I guess is a good way to put it. I would say definitely our college experience was a roller coaster. In high school, I think I at least had no idea what I wanted to do or where I wanted to end up. And the college search, I think for all of us that are freshly in college or going into college now, our college search was kind of screwed up by COVID, right? So we weren't really able to tour a lot of schools. We weren't able to, I think, just have the normal succession through high school to college. So I think the college search, the college application process, and even freshman year was difficult. It was just hard, and I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted. But I think sometimes you make decisions, and even if you're a little bit unsure, I'm a firm believer in you always end up where you're supposed to end up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Marywood really is the right school for us at this point in our lives. It's a super small liberal arts school in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So if you've ever seen The Office, we live in Scranton. It is just like the show sometimes. I don't think it's as funny. Steve Carell isn't hanging around.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I wish.
Yeah.
We do have a restaurant that is office themed. It's there's a gift shop, and I haven't been yet, but I've heard that it's a must see.
You gotta go to that. I gotta know. You gotta let me know how that is.
For sure. I've heard the merch is top notch office
tier
merch.
Good to know.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we decided on this school because it was a liberal arts school, so it had a variety of different different majors, different minors, different programs. And it was a good distance from home. So we're only about an hour away from home, which is exactly as much independence as I think we like. It's nice to be able to come home on a weekend if we want to, but it's also nice to have that independence and feel like we're kind of living on our own. So yeah, I would say it was tough to find a school, but once we found the school, we kind of settled in, I guess. And I think there's no such thing as the perfect school, but you find a school that works for you, hopefully. Is there anything you want to add to that?
I think you covered it all. I feel like it's been a tremendous time for growth, and I'm really, really grateful for that.
For sure.
Yeah, wow, you really hit the nail on the head there. That was incredible. I really like what you said about it is a really good time for growth, and I think that it's a really good time for growth because of all the like challenges it throws at you. Yeah. I think there's some level of getting thrown into the deep end at college. More than I expected. Like I created a whole freaking podcast to be like, I'm gonna be prepared for college, and then I like get here in the first day, and I'm like, oh no.
Right.
So yeah, like as much prep as you can do. There's some level of just like you're just gonna get here. There's gonna be new challenges. There's gonna be new phenomenon that you have to kind of figure out, and yeah, that really does prompt growth. I definitely relate to you on some level in some of the similar experiences. I'm not exactly at a small liberal arts college, but I am like 2.5 hours away from home, and it was something you two more than me, just like grade wise. COVID really messed up your college search. I was able to get it back by about senior year, I think, where like I could go to places and was being masked and doing all that stuff and like trying to stay safe, but was still able to like see campus, go inside and stuff, which was really nice. I am curious about, I'm jumping around the script a little bit, like, so you're 1 year into college. Like, I guess I'm wondering a little bit, like, what was thrown at you as freshman in college? What do I have to expect as a freshman in college? Like, what were some of the things you really had to go with in that regard?
I don't want to scare you, but I'm sure you've experienced it. It is a lot. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like everything is kind of thrown at you at once. I think the biggest thing for us was homesickness. Yeah. We were really homesick. Our family is just us and our parents, and we came from a really small town and a really small high school. And I think it wasn't so much that like I really missed home, but I think it was I really don't deal well with change. And I think college is all about change, right? You literally are changing where you're living, and you're maybe for the first time studying exactly what you want to study. So I think that was something that was definitely kind of thrown at us, but also you kind of, at least I felt like, we're like creating a new life for yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're in a new place around new people, trying new things. And that can be really exciting, but it also can be a bit overwhelming. But it is kind of, that freedom is fun, I would say, that you get to choose, who you're hanging out with, what you're doing, what you're involved in. What have you experienced in the first few weeks of school that kind of thrown at you?
It's a good question. I definitely think just like a sense of being overwhelmed was like immediately what I felt kind of thrown into. Definitely that like, I think some level of that homesickness, some level of just that like being in a new place. I left early, honestly. I did the welcome team at my school, which was, I definitely had like, had some ups and downs. It was nice to like get in kind of early. And I feel like by the time it like took me about a week to get out of that initial like unsettling, like I finally kind of felt a little bit settled, not fully settled by any means, but like comfortable here. And I think that like I was glad to have about a week in advance where like I felt that a little bit more than some of my friends who showed up like 3 to 5 days after I got there did. So I think that was a little bit nice that like not like that I had a head start even, but just having like a little bit of that early settled feeling helped me for classes and stuff. I definitely felt that when classes started, things also got better. I don't know if you experienced this phenomenon at all, but like sometimes, at least for me, like I'm a social person. I like to do stuff, but I'm not the partying type. And like not super like going out every night. Like it can definitely get to be a lot, even though I throw myself to be an extrovert, but like definitely still have some of those introvert recharged by alone tendencies too. Yeah. So like when I had classes and things to focus on, like I think that really helped me get more comfortable, and also like get more comfortable with people and like finding groups and stuff, is like having some shared focuses. Like I've made a lot of friends who are in like my major and stuff. I'm in a housing learning community, which helped a lot too. So it's all like, for me, it's like half my floor is like first year business students like me. So that's good to like see a lot of faces who are in similar classes and kind of all going through the same stuff. We can talk about all the different clubs because there are so many clubs to apply to. And it's kind of like, there's almost some level of like, the only difference between all of these clubs is just the people in them, which like both makes it easier and harder to figure out.
Yeah.
Because you just have to go to all these meetings and just do all these different kind of vibe checks and engage, which is cool though too. Because when you find the right group, and I find some groups that I'm like, oh, I really click with this, that's really cool and exciting. Yeah. I think other challenges, I eventually was kind of getting good at like getting out, and like I had a good friend from high school also was going to U of M too. And it was nice. Like we got together and still do get together like pretty often, which I think was really good. It's just like having that connection, and then we'll go do other stuff, like try new restaurants and all that. Like I've been having a good time at getting out, but it definitely just that like overwhelming anxiety is still something that it ebbs and flows a little bit. It's not as bad as it was when I got here, but it's still kind of like swinging a little bit on that pendulum.
Yeah. And I would definitely say that like for us, we definitely experienced that overwhelming anxiety. And it really, I think, was a matter of time. You know what I mean? Like, and again, like you said, the ebbs and flows. And I think class for us really helped too. Like, I think we both thrive on structure and routine. And
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I think time and just finding what works for you is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was good. Like, I like, so go listen to Courageously Kind, because as of right now, the most recent episode is about college and the transition. And they had a really cool guest on, and like listening to your episode was also really good, I think, in validating some of those experiences where like, I think it's easier either A, in reflection to talk about things, or B, like in other spaces to talk about the college experience. Cause I think it's a lot harder for a bunch of like freshmen to actually open up and be like, this is weird, or like kind of overwhelming. So I think it was good to have that validated too a little bit, and like have those kinds of chats with people. Like I've definitely talked to friends too who have similar experiences. So
that's awesome. Thank you for saying that. I'm glad that was the intent of the episode. So I'm glad that came across.
It absolutely did. It's really like one of the, like a really great podcast episode. It's also like 20 minutes. So it's, it's a great length too, to like go and just listen to. And your chemistry is always great with all the guests that you have. So
thank you, Carter. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We got to have you on very soon.
Oh, I'm excited. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
It'd be like a trilogy of podcasts at that point.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That would be cool.
I love it.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about majors. So what are you two studying? What are you majoring in? And kind of how did you get to that decision? What were some of the things that led you that way? Was it a class? Was it just like a passion? I mean, we talked a little bit ahead about what your major is, and I think I can guess a couple of things that led you to that direction, but really I'd love for you to talk me through it.
Yeah.
So right now today we are both multimedia communication students. We're on a interdisciplinary track, which means we can kind of build our own major within the comm department, which is very cool. But we didn't declare our major until last spring. So we came to school freshman year undecided. We had no clue what we wanted to do. But I think really it wasn't that we didn't know what we wanted to do. I think for a while we didn't really have the courage to say it. I'll speak for myself. I didn't have the courage to say it out loud.
Yeah.
We both took AP Science courses in high school and was kind of headed down that path. And I think a lot of people wanted us to continue down a STEM, science, math path. And we got to college and just thought that's really not where our passion lies. So it took a big step of courage to come out and say, you know what, this is what we're really passionate about and what we want to do.
Yeah. And I think it was just kind of looking at our lives and like, what are we passionate about? We love podcasting. We love, doing interviews like this with you and getting to do stuff like that. And the fact that there is a major that, relates to some of that stuff, and that there are jobs out there that relate to that as well. I was just watching this TikTok. It kind of has something to do with it, about just like finding what you're passionate about, what you can make money at, what the world needs, and finding like the intersection between all of those things. And there's a lot of really cool colleges out there that have a variety of different majors and minors. So I really think there's something for everyone out there. It's just a matter of finding what works for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it is such a like, Even at U of M, I see there's so much here. Like
Yeah.
there's so many different departments, business, STEM, comp sci engineering, all these different things. So it's really cool to like bounce around. And obviously like that's just one school and there's
Yeah.
so many colleges out there, which is really an interesting experience and really something that's, I think, really cool that you can, like, no matter what your passion is, do these kinds of different things. Like I've talked to people who even do both things. Like I was talking to somebody on the show who went to Northwestern. I think he had a friend in like high level calculus and also theater. Like,
That's amazing.
and like, I'm like, isn't that such a wild cross section?
Yeah.
That's something that's so cool. Like, so there truly is so many different ways of like, even like, I think for me, I'm pursuing business as like a major, but like, I think I definitely want to have some room for like minors and fun creative activities and all that cool stuff. So like, that's really awesome.
That is so awesome. I think that's the fun part about college is that like obviously we're here for a reason and we're here to learn
Yeah.
skills and all that, but really just to try stuff out and discover new things too is part of the wonderful thing about college.
Absolutely.
It really is. I'm curious about your school because I think every college is unique in a lot of their own ways. Like, are there any, like, what are some really kind of cool uniquenesses and things about like Marywood, culture, traditions, all that fun stuff?
Really good question. Because Marywood's a really small school, we do have a lot of commuters. So a lot of people are from the area. But I think that makes it special because a lot of people really do take pride in this area. They love where they're from. Obviously, of course, with The Office, everybody loves The Office and takes a lot of pride in that. But I would say it's nice that our campus is kind of like up on the woods. So we have a lot of nature and a lot of opportunities to get outside and get involved outdoors if that's your thing, which I really loved. That was a huge decision point. But I think we really take our club seriously. Sports is not as big, I would say, here as some other schools. We're definitely not like a Penn State or anything, but Penn State's not far from here, so if that's your thing, you can make the trip. Um, but yeah, I would say like the small community aspect is really big here, which I really love.
We're also really rooted in service-based activities. So every club on campus is required to fulfill a service or charity opportunity. That's something that I feel like Marywood is really steeped in. And we love that, it's people that are trying to be kind to people. The fact that we can carry that out in our day-to-day lives and where we're living on campus is really beautiful, and I really love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love like, I think that not everything here is super service based, but like in high school, I was always big in the community service clubs and doing a lot of that stuff. So it's cool to see that emphasis continue because it's something that's so important. I think just so like fulfilling in its own way that I don't think you can get in a lot of other areas, right? Like I think that there is something unique and really like just special about service and doing that stuff that, yeah, you can't fill in any other real spaces. That's not that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This is one question that I usually been asking all the guests, and I love the answers. And so I kind of have it's a 2-in-1 question. You can do both. You can do one or the other, but I'm curious about both of them. So this is a segment called Pass It On, basically, which is like, I feel like, there's a lot of us who get like pieces of advice from other really cool people. And I think that that's something great in that. And like, I'm curious if you've received like a piece of academia or just life advice from somebody that you want to like basically continue to pass that trend on and share that advice out now. Do you have that? If you don't, or if you do, you can also answer just the ultimate tip, which you think is like the tip for somebody going into college in particular and kind of that phase of life.
Love these questions so much. In terms of advice that people have given us, I think one of the biggest things is like try and get ahead on your work. I don't always follow that advice, but trying to just like get everything done and work ahead. Your future self will thank you for that. Doesn't always happen, but good thing to keep in mind. I would say like the ultimate tip for college would be get involved. Like the opportunities that present themselves on a college campus to get involved with your peers, with the community, with the school, it's something that you're not going to find anywhere else. And it's a really cool point in our lives where we get to really kind of dive in and get involved in new communities. So the things you can learn about yourself and about the world and about the people around you by getting involved, I think is priceless. Anything you want to add?
I think just to give it a fair shot. I do see on TikTok sometimes, videos of people that only stay in college for like a week. And in our experience, that first week is not the best week. It might not be everything you hoped and dreamed it would be, but give it a fair shot, kind of wait it out, and I really think time helps.
For sure.
It gets better.
Yeah, it gets better.
It does get better. Even week to week freshman year, it gets a little bit better each week,
Exactly.
Yeah. That's excellent pieces of advice. I definitely relate to you on both ends of the get work done early and your future self will thank you. And also doesn't always happen as much as I'd like for it to, but
right.
It is good. It is nice.
Yeah.
See, there's some beauty of taking notes ahead of time. I don't know if you've experienced this. Like when I take lecture notes and then all I have to do is chill in a lecture and just kind of listen instead of having to frantically scribble stuff. I'm like, this is great.
Yes.
I've got to do this more often because I feel like I don't do it all the time, but when I do, I'm always happy about it. But, yeah.
Totally agree.
There's something cool to that for sure. I am curious about this question too, because I feel like everybody has different expectations going into school, and then there's always like I had it of what I expected to happen, and then the shell shock or the splash of cold water of what college actually was. What were your expectations going into school, and how did that reality compare? And even a year out, how has that reality kind of shifted or compared, and how are the expectations different?
Yeah, I think I was definitely expecting best case scenario, I would love it. I would make so many friends. It would be perfect. I'd know my major. Everything would be great. I think you have that expectation when you're in high school of oh, when I get to college, it's going to be so much fun. And it is. There are, great aspects of it, but it is a lot of work too. And there's a lot of growing that happens, and growing does not always feel good sometimes. So I think the reality of it was you have to make an effort to make friends and to build relationships. It's not just something where you're in high school and you're with the same people every day and you kind of just become friends because you're around them all the time, which I love. I love all my high school friends, but I think in college you kind of have to, again, you're creating your life and you have to work at relationships, and you have to, I don't know, I guess maybe push yourself to get involved in things sometimes. Because there's the freedom of I could just sit in my dorm all day. You don't maybe have your parents holding you accountable or something like that. But I would say I think the reality from last year and this year has changed, whereas coming back the second year and you know where everything is and you have your favorite spots on campus and you've made your friends, and I'm sure you're experiencing that already in your first semester too. The more you are there, the more you kind of learn the ways of the world, I guess. The easier it gets and the closer it gets to what I expected college to be, I guess.
That's another tip I have too, is going into college, try to kind of let go of those expectations. And I think you'll find yourself having a much better time when there's not those goals and expectations about it has to look a certain way.
Yeah, that's another thing of college looks different for literally every single person. So not comparing your journey to someone else's can be so valuable.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've definitely learned both letting go of expectations. I think that's kind of the point of the question that when I initially thought about it was probably okay, this is hearing of that experience, people being this is not what I expected it to be. And then now having gone through being oh yeah, this is it's not what your expectations are. And I think as much as you can be aware of that, there's some level of there's always going to be those expectations, and they're always going to kind of either be accurate or probably more not accurate. But I think it is true still to try and let that stuff go, and try and kind of hold that and temper that going into school.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am curious about, dorm life. First of all, I'm curious about what was your dorm experience kind of freshman year? Are you still in dorm housing? Are you required to be, or you did more the off-campus stuff? And then what is a dorm house or college living kind of a piece of essential equipment, I guess? Or
yeah, that is a great question as well. because our school is so small, all of the freshmen are in one building, which,
Oh, wow.
yeah, has its perks and its sucky parts.
Uh-huh, for sure.
I think I liked the fact that like I had friends down the hall, which was nice. But I think freshmen in college have a ton of freedom, and you know what I mean? That means they don't have to go to bed at a certain time, and that means they can go out on the weekends and come back and be really loud.
Yeah.
And other things in our bathroom at 2 o'clock in the morning. We shared a bathroom with two other girls who were partiers, and that was a fun taste of college that we did not expect or want. So yeah, that was I liked living on campus. We decided between this school and a school at home because we wanted to live on campus and get that experience of living away from our parents and kind of doing it on our own. And I think dorm life is a good transition into like living on your own because like you don't really have to like take care of a whole house and there's a security guard in the building and things like that. I think it's a nice transition, but there were definitely aspects of it that I did not love. We live in the middle of nowhere at home, so having people literally right next door, whereas our house at home, you know, we have no neighbors, so that was a huge adjustment. But it definitely was, I think, taught us a lot about living on our own in that situation. So now we're in a different building. We are dorming. So we have our room, Liz and I share a room, and then we share a bathroom with two of our friends this year. So
Nice.
it's a much better situation. And I think the first 2 years you are required to live on campus. We also have like apartment style housing on campus as well. But there are also a lot of like houses that rent out around campus as well. So for now, I really like the building we're in. It's co-ed, all grades, and it's fairly quiet, which is nice, and I feel super safe, which is nice. Yeah. What are your thoughts about dorm life so far? How are you feeling? Do you have a roommate? Are we gelling with a roommate?
We're chilling with the roommate. Like, I went in blind with a roommate entirely, which was definitely like a kind of stressful experience. Like, oh boy, but like I cannot complain. My roommate is like incredible, and it just makes me so happy. We definitely vibe on a lot of occasions, and we're just kind of like, it's nice. I think we're in the same major, so we like, you know, can play off each other and like, you know, go to the similar things together. We'll like go to the same Zoom conferences. Literally, we were in a Zoom club mass meeting for like a club at the business school, and his audio was not working on Zoom at all. So he would just like speak through my computer. Like I would just be here. He was like that way, like, you know, parallel to me here. And he just kind of like lean over and talk through me, which was really fun and really funny. Great. But like, I've had a great time with my roommate. It definitely, I'm also kind of with you though. Like I was an only child. I, you know, didn't really live like, I wasn't in the middle of nowhere, but I was in a tourist town. So like, in the like 8 kind of strip of like condo houses where I lived, I think it was ourself and another house like 4 down were the only 2 like year-round people for the most part.
Nice.
So I was kind of used to like not dealing a whole lot with neighbors, although when summer hit there were definitely more parties and like parties happening around the area.
Gotcha.
But I feel like honestly I'm on the 5th floor, like top floor. It's pretty chill. Like I've liked how like there have been some times like we had a football game and stuff recently where people like be chilling out in the commons and area a lot, which is nice. So like it's nice to just kind of pop out of my room right there, and like I'm pretty close to like the elevator and the common area and everything, which I'm really happy about. Yeah. So it's nice to like pop out there and just like hang out with people and kind of have that go on too. So yeah. So far dorm life's been nice. There's definitely, I know there have been some floor parties. There was I think a fire alarm that got pulled in the midst of one of the parties, which I definitely had to experience, but it wasn't terrible. I don't know about you guys if you had fire drills. Our fire drill, like the alarm, it's like, you know, it has the alarm, and then there's like a really chill guy who's like, there's a fire in the building. And I'm like, this sounds too calm for a fire drill alarm. That's like, so funny. Because we had a drill, and then 2 nights later, somebody like the alarm went off. Thankfully, everything was fine. Yeah. I think it was just probably, the consequence of a party of some sort. But I was like, this is too chill of a fire alarm. Like obviously the blaring gets you, but like the voice is just too chill.
Some urgency, right?
Like just some, like I get maybe it's a nice like calming presence, but I also feel like there's some level of urgency that is important here.
Right.
There's some good juxtaposition though, but otherwise I've enjoyed housing. I like part of the learning community. It's in West Quad, which on U of M is they call it West Quad, Best Quad, and I can't really disagree in that front.
Love it.
And I kind of knew about that applying to the learning community is that I kind of like wrote my way into West Quad, which I'm really happy about. I know some friends who are more in like, there is some dorms on North Campus, which is a little bit less central and much more like freshman oriented, who I think had more similar experiences to your freshman experience of dorm life.
Yeah.
Which I'm a little bit happy I've gotten to like avoid that. But so far housing's good. I don't know where I'll be next year though. I've definitely thought of either. I think it's more common after freshman year to get like on-campus apartments, or it might be like an RA. I'm debating between those two kind of things. But yeah, it's otherwise it's been a decently fun time. Although there's definitely been a couple like, you know, the struggles, the fire alarms and things like that, but nothing too terrible.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm curious about, you talked about pumpkin cake at the dining hall at the start of here, and I'm curious about for the dining halls. Do you have like multiple dining halls? Are they different? And also like, what's your best bite of food at a dining hall? And also like, if there's other kind of restaurants and stuff in the area, like do you have a favorite place to go? Yeah, at Marywood.
Yeah, great question. You know, what's funny is that I'm actually writing an editorial kind of slamming our dining hall right now, which is
That's
funny.
Incredible.
Our dining hall made a lot of changes this year, and I think they were well-intentioned, but not necessarily executed well. So we're actually getting ready to, release something in the newspaper about that. But I would say we did get a new like panini station, which has been really nice.
Yeah.
That they're doing well. So that's good. We have one main dining hall, and then we have like a Starbucks affiliate that does also like grab and go sandwiches and stuff like that. And we also have like a little marketplace where you can get grab and go stuff as well. But one like main sit down dining hall. And what do they do well? They do bagels really well.
That's good.
That is
That's
good.
They just added to the main dining hall like a cook it yourself option. So like stir fry, like pasta bar, you just like can grab a pan and just like blend things together, and so that's really fun.
It's really fun to be able to cook. Our building has a kitchen, but our building last year didn't. So that is really fun, but kind of time consuming if you're on your way to class. You don't really want to have to cook your own food, but yeah. And around Scranton, I would say my favorite spot is a cafe called Zumo's. It's just a really cute little coffee shop. Just quiet and good place to study and good place to get off campus for a little bit and hang out.
Nice. I'm curious about the cookie yourself. Is there potential to like burn things? Like, I don't know if I trust a lot of like freshmen to be cooking food on their own.
Yeah. We use like hot plates, so there's no like open flame, which I think is a little
good.
But yeah, it's kind of a weird concept too. They have like drawers that you just put the pans in.
Yeah.
That freaks me out a little bit. There's like supposed like fire resistant like mats or something in there. It doesn't seem like it should work. But
yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily trust some freshmen either. With it. We had the fire alarm go off last year because someone forgot to put water in their mac and cheese. But
oh no.
You know, burn those noodles. It's like, what did you I don't know. Hopefully they learned their lesson.
Me too. Yeah, that's nice. I'm excited to we have a community kitchen in this building, and I'm hopefully excited to cook there at some point. Which is nice. I'm curious, is boba tea a big thing on your high school campus? Because it's like a big, like, there's like 3 walkable boba tea places from like where I'm sitting right now that are all like within a 5 to 10 minute walk. So like, is that a big deal at your campus?
It's not, and I'm really mad about it because where we are at home, we're really close to SUNY Binghamton, New York. So boba's big there, and we have a bunch of boba shops near the college campus. But I can't think of any in Scranton. Which is a bummer because I love it.
That is a bummer.
Like ramen.
Ramen is, we have like a ramen restaurant, which is
that's interesting.
Yeah. But no, I'm bummed about the boba because I love it. And I don't know of any place where you can get it. I'm sure there are some, but none super close to campus.
Dang, you got to start a boba place then.
We should.
It's got to be like Courageously Kind Boba or something.
I love it. We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We'll recruit your business expertise.
Give me 4 years and then I'll get back to you on that. When I join a consulting club, I'll let you know. But definitely, that would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be fun. I'm curious, thinking back to high school, I always love this question. Is there a high school memory or moment that you kind of still think about or kind of reflect upon?
That's a great question, too. I think the night of our graduation, we all didn't want the night to end, so we went to Sonic in our caps and gowns. It was really stupid. We're like, where can we go? Well, we wanted to get ice cream, but all the ice cream places were closed at like 10 o'clock. So we all just hung out in the Sonic parking lot in our caps and gowns.
Yeah.
So that was a fun high school memory. What else did we do in high school? I'm trying to think back before COVID when we did things that were fun. We went to Disney World. Our chorus went to Disney World, and that was really amazing. To get to go to Disney World with all your friends was like so cool. What about you? Do you have a favorite high school memory?
Ooh, that's tough. First, I'm a little low-key jealous with the Disney World thing because we had a Disney trip for March of 2020.
No.
Yeah, it's my big casualty. I remember sitting there reading that Disney was closed, eating like Mickey Mouse goldfish, being like, oh boy. But I'm really glad you got to have a Disney trip. Like that definitely seems like a really cool experience, and hopefully I'll just be able to go with friends one day, just like for the heck of it. High school memories, I think about, this is like a pre-COVID one that I probably talked about before. There was like just some of that like random spontaneity that did happen in high school. This had to have been, I think it was like March 7th of 2020.
Oh, wow.
When I piece back the dates and I find some stuff about it, there was like a friend of mine, we were all in like the percussion section together. He had like at some point acquired like 2 like bugs that he had as like pets. And I don't think that they lasted that long, but like, so the bugs died, unfortunately, but we hosted a funeral, for the bugs in our like little like foyer collab area. And like, another friend of mine who were also in percussion, like we spent like the morning in AP Chem writing like an obituary for the bugs, which were named like Milk and Cookies. And I feel like we said something about like this, like their flavor, their sweetness, like last on. Like it was just one of like my favorite experiences. And then as we like, I just went up with her to give the speech. She gave the speech, and I was like kind of sitting there, like laughing really hard, but like having covering my face. And then she's like pats me on the shoulder. She's like, "It's okay, you can cry." And it was like one of my like, just was so funny, and just one of those like random moments that right before everything changed. And then for you talking about your senior night, we had a senior night event actually. So we, after graduation, we got out of our caps and gowns, pulled up we like got on buses, and they drove us to like Rebounders, like, you know, like the trampoline places.
Oh, fun.
Like, so like a Rebounder Sky Zone. So we were there from like 10 to 2 a.m. or something.
That's awesome.
Like, which was just kind of a really fun experience of like, you know, and I hadn't been there since middle school, but it was like kind of fun to be there with all your friends super late at night.
Yeah. That's so awesome.
Yeah. Good times, you know. Definitely, high school has a variety of ups and downs, but I do like some of those just fun high school memories.
For sure.
Yeah. I wrote this question last night because I don't know if you had this experience. I feel like as a freshman in particular, joining all these events, you get a lot of icebreakers thrown at you. Like, so many icebreaker questions. And so I'm curious, do you have a favorite icebreaker question or a go-to icebreaker? Because now I really want to know, what are some good icebreakers that are different from the standards?
That's a great question, because like you said, freshman year, you're like icebreakered out by like the first 2 days. We did one, we were hosting a retreat this weekend for freshmen. We were part of the team, and one of the icebreaker questions that our teammate came up with was, what's the coolest thing you found on the ground?
I love that.
It's a hard question.
So funny.
It makes you think, but not a lot of people have an answer. I think that's the most interesting.
Yeah.
You know what we've done for icebreakers is this or that games too, which I think is fun, and like find a buddy and explain why you chose what you chose. But what you found on the ground one is the wackiest one I've ever heard.
I now have to ask, Maddie and Liz, what's the coolest thing you found on the ground?
I literally can't remember my
Okay,
answer.
I got one.
Is it the slug?
It's not the slug. We were in Sedona, Arizona, and they have a McDonald's that is turquoise. So like instead
You went to
of
the
like
turquoise
we
McDonald's?
went to
Yes,
the
on
turquoise
accident.
McDonald's.
We were in Sedona, and I was like, we have to. We were driving
Sure.
by. I was like, we have to
Yeah.
go to turquoise McDonald's.
And I found this like little rubber like whale in the parking lot, and I was like, that is gonna be my whale from the turquoise McDonald's in Sedona. And so I took it home.
That's a great answer.
I love
I love that so much.
Great answer.
it.
I'm trying to think myself.
It's
I
a
don't,
hard
like-
question.
It's a hard question.
Right?
I vacuumed up a debate flow from underneath our air conditioner in our dorm room. This was I don't know if it's like it was just something where I was like it was like the night it was my roommate was moving in and I was like vacuuming a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we were gonna like loft the bed and we like moved some stuff out of the way and I like had the tube and it was like under and it like caught on something and so I pulled it out and there was just like a random piece of paper and like I didn't know what this was. My roommate is like a speech and debate guy. So he was like, that's a debate flow. And I'm like, what? And I don't remember what it looked like. I don't think I took a picture.
Oh my
But I was like, it was just really funny, A, to find a random piece of paper for somebody else who was in our room, and B, for him to like ID it as a debate flow, because that was like such a big piece of his experience of like high school. I'm like,
Wow.
that was fun.
That's wild.
Yeah. Wow. That's a good question. I think I might steal that now.
You totally can.
Yeah. We're on to the last couple questions. I feel like music is something that I definitely always am interested in. I always a little Spotify playlist. Every like 2 months I make a new like monthly bop report and all that fun stuff. So I'm curious. I think I've been building like a high school, more as a school survival playlist.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious if you have any any songs to add to a school survival playlist.
I think this is the hardest question. I love music.
Yeah.
So how can I pick
Yeah.
one song? When we were in high school, I think when we were just starting high school, Paramore's most recent album came out. Is it After Laughter?
Yeah.
And that album was so good, and I listened to that
Loved it.
on repeat. So maybe Hard Times. Not that high school was a hard time, but that was a
It's a
good
great upbeat song about hard times.
about hard times.
About hard times.
But it's a good one.
You need that sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some upbeat songs about hard times. AJR, I feel like it's another band that does a good job at
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
upbeat song about like usually a heavier topic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
But-
love that. That's my vibe.
Good times. It's a good vibe. It's a good vibe. Good times. Hard times.
Yeah.
All the times. All right. This is the last question before plugs, and I'm curious. What would you tell your freshman self in high school, and what would you tell your freshman self in college?
I think it would be the same thing. And I think I would say it's not always going to be easy, but just hang in there because there are going to be a lot of great times and persistence pays off. And it's going to get better.
I think too, just like I don't know, I think I'd slap myself if I told myself to don't worry about it. But really, like, there's always something that you could worry about. So choosing to focus on something besides your worries and your anxieties, I think, is huge.
Nice. It's good. It's good pieces of advice. Like, I'm with you too. Like, there's so many pieces of advice that if I told myself, if I told myself A like 3 weeks ago or B at the start of high school, yeah, I definitely like smack myself and be like, what are you doing?
Right? Shut
But-
up. Yeah.
Shut up! Come on, you don't know me. But it is so true. There's a lot of like, even a lot of advice. Like, I feel like there's a lot of cliches that like they're cliches for a reason.
Yeah.
Like what you were saying at the start of like, kind of no matter where you're at, it's gonna be the right place for you. Like it'll just kind of all like I think a little bit of that like it's all just kind of gonna work out in the end is a really good way of thinking. But there's also some moments where people tell me that I'm gonna like roll my eyes. But
Yeah.
it's so true.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Totally agree.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is plug time, and I really wanted you to talk about all the things you want to plug, Courageously Kind, anything else in between. Like, seriously, this is your time. Share all the cool stuff that you do.
Awesome.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
So I'll get like all the social medias out of the way. We did just create a website. I think that is new since we spoke to you. So courageouslykind.org is up and running, and you can find pretty much everything that we're working on there. The podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube for the time being. Wherever you find your podcast there, and Courageously Kind Podcast on Instagram and Courageously Kind on TikTok. I think that's all the socials. Yeah, we're on season 3 of the show, and we've got a lot of cool guests on, and hopefully a lot of topics that resonate with our audience. So fun stuff. I think that's it.
Totally.
I think that's the big plug.
Big ones. Can I also just shout out your Positivity Self-Kindness Journal?
Yes.
I feel like that's the other big thing.
Yeah.
They like, because it's sitting on my desk. I've been like following your follow through in September. I need to I do a lot of I haven't done a lot of journaling recently. Usually I do it through an app, but I need to, maybe I'll do a little handwriting journaling, and it's just a different vibe of slowing down and stuff. Yeah. It feels really deliberate. It's really cool though. I love the book. It's it's just such a great idea, and it's such a great little journal.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we designed it so that there's a prompt there's 30 prompts. So if you want to do it for a month long, you can. You certainly don't have to. And that's available on Amazon if you search the Self-Kindness Journal, or just search Courageously Kind on Amazon. It should pop up. But yeah, we're doing a thing on our Instagram for the month of September where I'm just going to do a prompt a day and post the prompt. And if you want to journal along with it at home, you totally can. Or if you just want to, have it in your brain to think about throughout your day, you can too. So thank you for reminding us about that, because I forgot.
No, it's great. I feel like I couldn't, because that was another thing between last time and now, where I was like, I got to talk to you guys about this. I got to it's so cool. No, thank you for coming on. This has been incredible. I'm so appreciative of you guys just, coming on the show and talking all things college again. It's always, I think, great to just share all these different perspectives on college, because it's so big and so broad, but I feel like there's also so many universal things to it as well. And these experiences we're all just kind of going through. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for this show. I seriously think it would have helped me so much, in the college search and that sort of thing. So you, without a doubt, are definitely helping students in high school and in college. So thank you for doing what you do. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you too for doing what you do. Again, I will throw the same thing back to you. You are creating some of the coolest stuff on the internet that I will always shout out and plug and talk about, because it's just some of the great stuff. So thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for the kind words. It's appreciative. And I hope it helps people. And, whether it's high school, whether it's college and anything else, I definitely just hope it can be a helpful resource, because I know I would have loved to have had it. I was in I'm applying to a consulting club, and the one consulting club did actually 5 3-minute episode podcasts on the consulting club application process, and I'm like, this is amazing. So I love podcasts. I love seeing them pop up in all these different little places, because there's something special.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Carter. Right. This is fun.
Thank you, Maddie and Liz. This is fun. Thank you, listener, for listening to an episode of the Student Council. I have been Carter Dvorak. They over there have been Maddie and Liz Adams. If you want to find us, our Instagram is @StucoPod. If you've got questions or guests or topics you want me to cover, our email is stucopod@gmail.com. So you're just out there. Wishing you the best of luck and the best of times in all of your educational endeavors. The Student Council is adjourned.